All right, everybody, welcome back in. We're going to be doing our mock draft now. I got Garrett here tonight filling in for Colin. For those of you who maybe skipped just to the mock draft portion, we got Drock, Men in the commissioner role here. And we're going to be doing picks 1 through 32. Once we get to the end, I believe it'll have the Eagles at 31 and the Chiefs at 32 based off a record. And Garrett's going to do the odd numbers. I'm going to do the even numbers. And yeah, I mean, hey, it's January. The Saints don't even have a coach yet. We don't even know how free agency is going to shake out and all that stuff. So don't give us too much shit. But if you are going to give us shit, drop a comment. Let us know where we went wrong. Because I know nobody's going to give us our flowers. You're just going to give us our crap. So yeah, Garrett, why don't you get us going?
It's all right.
Or actually, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Okay?
Commissioner, let us know it's official.
Ding, 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 ding. And with the first pick in the NFL 2025 draft, I gotta say that's fucking. I did it wrong, dude.
Boo.
Yeah, I was a horrible commissioner last year.
Don't worry, the commission always gets booed. It's all right.
Titans are on the clock. Well, and now it's on the clock.
Titans are on the clock. Titans are gonna take quarterback Cameron Ward, University of Miami. Yeah, I got Cam Ward going here. I mean, I guess it's a toss-up between him and Shedeur right now. It seems like from the reports we're getting that they're going to lean towards Cam Ward. We'll see this little battle between the two pick up as we get closer. Right now, I'd lean Cam Ward as a quarterback I trust a little more than Shedeur. I mean, he's got the stats to worthy getting drafted number one. He threw 39 touchdowns last year, only 7 picks. I would have loved to see his team make the playoffs so we could have seen him play in like bigger games. Miami was close to making that push at the end, but they couldn't get in because that would have been a good test. We didn't see either of these guys play any playoff football, so it's tough to say how they're going to perform in big games. Miami didn't play in a lot of like huge games this year. We saw him really boost his career since transferring there. Hopefully, a quarterback like Carson Beck can do the same, but we'll see. I think Titans need a quarterback bad. I don't think Will Levis is the answer for them, and I think they're just going to take their quarterback to the future. They just got a new GM from coming over from Kansas City. I think he's going to be excited to get the chance to draft his own quarterback. I don't think he's going to want to roll with Will Levis.
Yeah, so obviously that's a no-brainer. Or I guess maybe not. I'm going to go a different route this time. Last time I went with Shedeur Sanders, but I'm actually going to go with edge rusher Abdul Carter for the Browns. They go the best player available, probably the best defensive player in this draft, generational talent on the edge. They just came out and said today they're not going to trade Myles Garrett, and that's great. That tells me they still want to compete. I've heard Kirk Cousins' name floated around. They might try to get a veteran quarterback. I don't think they want to just give up with all that talent on defense. So, you still got Denzel Ward in the secondary. You got Myles Garrett. Now you bring up Abdul Carter. I mean, you're really getting a mean defense here. So, and with Kevin Stefanski as the head coach, all you need is some sort of game manager because if they keep loading up this defense, it could get scary. I still think they can compete. I mean, we saw them beat the freaking Ravens last year with Jameis Winston. It is a dumpster fire, but if they can figure out the quarterback position or, throw a Band-Aid on it in some sense, a little bit better than Jameis, not Dorian Thompson-Robinson or Deshaun Watson, but somebody that can at least keep them in games, move the ball downfield, and, take some pressure off that defense. That Browns team could still compete next year.
Carter and Myles Garrett together.
That's what I'm saying. That would be scary.
In this scenario, like, if he is on the trade block, like we've heard a little bit.
No, he's not. They said he's not on the trade block, so I would say why not pair them together? Like, I don't – because I think right now, like, I don't necessarily know if Kevin Stefanski. I just don't know. Like everyone's just like so sure that the Browns are either going Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders. Like, why are we going to rule out Abdul Carter? Like he is the best edge rusher in this draft, and he's probably the best defensive player in this draft. I mean, the dude's a fucking freak.
If you know you're taking Carter though, do you consider trading back one spot with the Giants if they feel like
maybe? I mean, I'm not going to do it for this mock draft, but maybe that's a very good point. That's a very good
Giants don't really know where they're going to go, and they might prematurely like trade up a couple weeks before the draft and make sure they can get one of the quarterbacks.
So,
but either way, right now with the Giants, I'm on the clock. We picked 3. I'm going to give them their quarterback of the future, Shedeur Sanders. It's hard not to go quarterback here, especially with free agency not happening yet. We don't know if the Giants are going to bring in quarterback. There's not really good options. Maybe Sam Darnold, but I'm sure they'd rather take their rookie and reset their timeline a little bit. We get Brian Dable to pick his own quarterback. He did not draft Daniel Jones. He tried to revive his career. It worked for a season, then it went to shit. I still think Brian Dable would be a great coach to develop like a rookie quarterback. So this will be exciting for Giants fans, and I know they'd be happy to get a guy like Shedeur. Even after winning that game meaninglessly at the end of the year, they still get their quarterback in this situation. So it all works out for them.
Yeah, great pick. Now at 4, I'm going Travis Hunter. I mean, the Patriots are in a spot where they have a lot of holes. And the nice thing is they have 125 million in cap space, but here it's a no-brainer. I mean, you take debatable the best player in this draft. Obviously, the dude's a freak. He can play both sides of the ball. You never see that. So, they have issues, obviously, in their wide receiver core, so it'll be nice for them to make some packages up. But obviously, he'll pair nicely with Christian Gonzalez if they choose to use him as a corner primarily, which I would assume they would. So for the Patriots, it just fills one of their many holes they have going into 2025.
All right, this is where it gets a little interesting. We got the Jaguars up. They need a couple of things. They could use a lot of help on the defensive side. Obviously, their new coach just came in. He's an offensive guru, so maybe I don't really see them needing like another weapon right now. Like obviously, Ted McMillan's intriguing, but I think they just have to go with a corner, and I'm going to give them Will Johnson, corner from Michigan. He's one of the best corner prospects we've seen. I think he's very similar prospect to Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley, where he warrants being that top 10 pick. In this case, like top 5 pick. We saw it work with Sauce. Teams can get a little scared taking a corner this high, but Johnson's done it at the highest level his whole career. He's won the national championship before. He had another killer year this year. He's a freak athlete. He's got the size, the long arms. I think he's going to be a stud, and they just desperately need like a lockdown corner. They were getting torched all last season.
No, it's a good pick. I mean, it will fill a big hole, and he was regarded as the best corner coming into this year. Obviously Travis Hunter had a great year as well, so can't go wrong there with him falling in their lap at 5. At 6, so I'm going to go with Ted McMillan from Arizona. I mean, the dude's a physical freak, 6'5". The Raiders don't really have that go-to big wide receivers, so that'll fill a role there. You could pair him with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, so I would have loved to go quarterback here, but I don't think there's anyone that warrants taking at 6. So either, they run with AOC, not to get political, or they, go and get someone in free agency, or maybe they get someone in the second, third round. I mean, we talked about how, this isn't the best quarterback class, but there will be guys later on the grab. So at least, whoever is a quarterback, you're giving them another weapon to pair with Bowers and, giving them Pete Carroll a lot of options there.
I'm so excited for Ted McMillan. If you guys haven't seen his highlight tape yet, go check that out. This guy's a freak. He's got Mike Evans' size, but he is just way more athletic after the catch. You'll see him make these freak catches and run for like 40 yards after the catch and finish it for a touchdown. This guy's a freak, and
he's going to be a stud.
Whatever team drafts him is going to be fucking excited.
Well, and that's kind of also why, wide receiver might not be the biggest need for the Raiders, but, where they are with so many holes to fill, you just got to go the best player available at that point.
I like that. Yeah. All right. Our New York Jets, baby. When we talked about it earlier, I'm not going to change it up now. I'm going to have them go Mason Graham, Michigan D tackle. This would be huge for the Jets because we saw in 2023 Jets defense. Everyone kind of saw how good it was. It was like top 3, top 5. And the D-line was the reason. And then last year, they let a lot of their players walk on the D-line. They didn't re-sign their own. And the defense fell apart. You can have Sauce Gardner and all these great secondary guys and good linebackers, but if you're not getting to the quarterback, your defense is not gonna produce. And you put him next to Quinnen Williams, and I think they're going to switch their system to be a little more blitz heavy. So you're going to need a guy in the middle to really just eat up a lot of the running plays. And Mason Graham's a freak. I don't know if many people see his highlights because he's D tackle. They don't get put on Instagram or anything as much, but this guy's a monster. similar to Will Johnson. He played on that championship team. He's played big level football. I'd be really excited for him if he came to New York.
Awesome. So at number 8 for the Panthers, I'm going to go with Will Campbell, tackle at LSU. You know, they did draft Aquanu a couple of years ago. That's who I was mixing up Fashanu with earlier. Sorry for those of you who were maybe screaming casual. But, you know, Will Campbell, you know, I really like what he has to offer in this draft. I mean, and for Bryce Young, I mean, you got to keep getting protection. Obviously, you know, you get Robert Hunt, you get Damian Lewis in free agency to try to solidify those guard spots. You know, I could say you could go a wide receiver here, but there's no one I really love here. So, you know, Will Campbell, you know, is known for his pass protection, and it seems like, you know, the Panthers last year wanted to run the ball with Chuba Hubbard, but then, you know, they kind of switched the way they were rolling and letting Bryce Young develop more as a passer. So why not get one of the better pass protecting tackles in this draft and really, you know, try to solidify this offensive line for Bryce Young, keep him upright. You can always get a wide receiver via trade, free agency, or in the second round.
Okay, I like that. The Saints are coming up next. They're a tough spot to predict what they're going to do. They don't have
We don't
a
even
bunch
know
of
who their
talent.
coach is.
We don't know who their coach is. They're in cap hell, so they're going to have to cut a bunch of players. So they're probably going to have even more holes than they do as it sits right now. When I think of a team like the Saints, they desperately kind of need like a star edge rusher with Jordan. I'm blanking on his name. Well,
On who? On the
they're
Saints?
they're aging best player on defense. Their D end, Cameron Jordan.
Oh, Cameron Jordan. I'm sorry. I think you
Yeah,
were talking about
yeah. Thank you.
I don't know
Thanks for
what I was
nothing.
thinking you were saying. No, sorry,
But he's
that's
aging. He's a guy they brought in Chase Young on like a kind of more of a prove it deal. So you can tell they've been trying to get Cameron Jordan's like replacement for a while. So I'm gonna give him James Pearce Jr. from Tennessee, an edge rusher. There's really a lot of ways you can go here, but getting a premium position in the first round is usually the way you want to go. There's not really I like Luther Burden, but without them having like that much promise at quarterback, it's hard for me to just say like, yeah, let's just give Derek Carr all these weapons. Like, you got to build the roster from the ground up and get an edge rusher in the trenches.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Sorry, I was just looking at who I wanted to take next.
Yeah.
For the Bears, I actually think they might go Ashton Jeanty here. And the reason is,
I
well, I
would
know
love that.
they did pay DeAndre Swift. You know, I look at who their new head coach is in Ben Johnson and the approach he took of a 1-2 punch, and I think, you know, Jeanty and Swift could be that. I think he'll try to model his offense similar to, you know, the Lions, although Caleb, obviously, you can do a lot more with him than you can Jared Goff. But, you know, we saw the Lions take Gibbs and what big of an impact he's been, and everyone like really questioned that pick years ago. Well, nobody's questioning it now. So I think they go out and get the best running back in college football. You know, it's a premium pick. You could go O-line there. This might be questioned because obviously there was a lot of questions there last year. And I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack. Like, there's no chance the Bears go that. But, you know, obviously last year they elected to go with Roma Dunze over offensive line, so I wouldn't be shocked again. And, hey, they're still free agency, so they might try to adjust, you know, the center, guard, tackle spots in that.
Yeah. So, 49ers, I'm going to have them take Josh Simmons, tackle from Ohio State. They don't – the Niners roster is still stacked. Even though they had a terrible year, they still have an awesome roster. So I'm going to have them take a tackle, which is one of their biggest needs, especially with their star left tackle getting hurt last year. You can't – why am I blanking on his name now too?
Oh, on the 49ers? Trent Williams you're talking about? Yeah.
Don't call me a casual. I'm sorry, fans. I was just blanking on it. But yeah, I would love for – there's no really better tackle to learn from right now in the league than Trent Williams. So you get him learning under Trent Williams, put him on the right side for now while Williams is still there, and then move Josh Simmons over to the left side once he's kind of retired or done. And he'll have all the tools that he'll need. 6'5", 310 pounds. Just won a national championship as well. So I'm gonna have them get their tackle here.
Great. Yeah, I'm going Luther Burden here for the Cowboys. I mean, I've been talking about it. I actually took him there last time. I just think he'll pair nicely with CeeDee Lamb. He kind of brings, a different aspect to that offense. I mean, we saw they were lacking a lot of talent outside of CeeDee this year. I did like Jalen Tolbert. He slid in nice, but I think he's, more of a wide receiver 3. Brandon Cooks is on the back end of his career, so I'm assuming they're going to bring Dak Prescott back, and with Schottenheimer taking over, offensive-minded coach, you'd think he'd want to go offense. And Jerry loves making the splashes in the draft, and Luther Burden would be a big splash. I mean, before last year, like he was supposed to be, the number 1 wide receiver. In this case, I guess he's 2 or 3, depending on what you want to consider Travis Hunter. But that pick really excites me for what he can unlock for that offense.
Yeah, I think Luther Burden's he was getting a lot more hype before the season started because he didn't have as crazy of a year as people would have projected. But I don't want to forget like how good this player really is. Like Ted McMillan's getting more love right now, but Luther Burden's also going to be a stud.
Mm-hmm.
And if he goes to a place like Dallas, he's going to get to show the world too, like playing in prime time all the time. For the Dolphins, I'm going to have them take Malaki Starks under the assumption that Javon Holland, who's a free agent right now, walks or they don't retain. They don't have a lot of money right now, so it might be tough to bring back Holland. So if they don't, I think Starks could be a great trade-off, like replacement for him. This guy was a freak at Georgia, and I don't really love the Dolphins secondary right now. I think it's a lot of older names like Ramsey, and especially if you lose Howard, like you got to get younger there. So I think Starks can plug in really nicely there. Unless they just want to get crazy with it and go Tyler Warren, just keep stacking their offense.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with that. For the Colts here, I mean, I would love to go Tyler Warren, but I think, after seeing the collapse of that defense down the stretch, I think you have to go with a defensive player. I think they'll be licking their chops with Mykel Williams from Georgia falling to them here. I mean, he's regarded as one of the better edge rushers, so if this is to happen, I think they just go best player available. I know they took Latu Latu, I believe, at 14. No, I'm sorry, 15 last year. So at least they solidify, hopefully, their edge rushers to the future, pairing them together. And that's the one thing in the NFL. I feel like you can never have too many pass rushers. I mean, it's great to keep guys fresh. So, you could also look at the secondary here. I mean, especially after, Drew Lock pieced that defense up in Week 17 in a must-win game. So I think Colts have to go defense here after that and missing out on the playoffs. So I'll go Mykel Williams here. Go best available. Take a premier edge rusher at this point.
Okay. I'm going to go a similar approach for the Falcons. I'm kind of surprised they're saying that wide receiver is their biggest need. I don't know if I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Mooney looked good as a
prime.
number 2.
Mooney looked good. Yeah, I don't really like that. So I'm not going to go wide receiver, even though a Meek Bouquet would be sweet there. They don't need to draft another first-round wide receiver weapon. I'm going to have them take Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall. I'm not going to act like I've watched any Marshall football games this year, but I was looking through his stats, and he had 17 sacks last year, which is awesome. And the scouts look like they're raving about him. So in this situation, he's the best edge on the board still. And the Falcons didn't really get what they were hoping for last year from the edge rusher they brought over from the Patriots.
Matt Judon, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really fill that need they were hoping for last year. A lot of fans were hoping they'd get that D tackler edge rusher. They obviously go quarterback, so I don't think you can punt on that again this year. And their coach is a defensive mind, Raheem Morris, coming from the Rams the year before then. He's a defensive sided guy who could get one of his own right here.
Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah, no, I do like the Mike Green pick. I think, a lot of people are going to be like, who? Like, that's a reach. But I think by the time the NFL drafts come around, he's a guy that's going to get a ton of buzz. If I'm not mistaken, he is at the Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah, he's a senior, so
Yeah, so
I think
he's a
something
guy
like
that's
that.
going to get a lot of buzz. Oh no, he's only a sophomore. I'm
No, he's a
sorry. So
sophomore.
yeah, he's not at the Senior
He's
Bowl, but
young.
I think
6'4",
the tape
250.
speaks for
Big
itself.
boy.
He's going to get a lot of buzz as it comes up closer. But 17 sacks. I mean, I don't care where you're playing at. That's ridiculous. I mean, and he's got the size at 6'4", 250. So you'll love to see that. So let's go to the Cardinals here. Offensive line is their biggest issue here. So I ended up, I'm going to go with a combo guy, a guy that can play guard, a guy that can play tackle, kind of at that weird spot. But Kelvin Banks from Texas, he's listed as a tackle, but he's undersized. So I think that, they expect him to be able to shift into guard. I mean, he's only 6'4", 320. So I say only, but, that's not exactly the size of a stereotypical tackle in today's league. But, I just think they have to solidify it. You got to give Kyler the time, to sit back in that pocket. And it seemed like down the stretch, like he was just always running for his life. So for me, this is a big pick for the Cardinals here. And I just love how versatile he is, that he has that guard tackle flexibility.
Yeah. Bengals are up. I guess this simulator is assuming that T. Higgins walks because it's saying they need a wide receiver. But everyone knows the Bengals need to fix that defense. I'm going to have them take Benjamin Morrison, the stud cornerback out of Notre Dame. He's only 20 years old. He's probably still going to be 20 by the time the draft comes. So he's a young guy that they can develop. And he had a great year. Like all their fans were saying on Twitter, like, oh, he's going to lock down the Ohio State receivers, which didn't happen. But besides that, he still had an amazing year. And the Bengals need all the help they can get. And in a division that they're in, a lot of teams have stud wide receivers, and they need a true guy that they can match up against them.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can go wrong there. I mean, they obviously have to go defense. I mean, if they don't go defense, I would be shocked. I mean, the team literally missed the playoffs because they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And I'm not even trying to be funny there or to be a jerk, but I mean, it was just embarrassing. Overall embarrassing. So they significantly need to figure it out. So, but let's go on over to the Seahawks. Another team I think needs to address the O-line. I mean, Geno was just, running for his life. It seemed like Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, whoever was in the backfield, was always getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, luckily for them, they were two guys that, were able to protect the line because they didn't go down easily. But I'm going to go with a guard here, regarded as one of the top guards in this draft out of Alabama, Tyler Booker. For him, he is a bigger guy, which is kind of funny because I was talking about with Banks how he's a smaller guy, but he's a bigger guy at 6'5", 325. But he's one of the better run blockers in this draft class. And that's why I like it a lot, because I think Seattle, to, fully have success, needs to figure out a way to run the ball. Like, your recipe for them is not having Geno Smith, be a top 5 guy in passing yards. I think next year, for them to really have success, it's going to be play great defense, run the ball, control the clock. So, and when you have two guys that are very capable in Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, that's why you go out and get one of the better run blocking guards in this draft in Tyler Booker.
Okay. Buccaneers. I'm gonna actually have them take Amik and Buke. Amik, I've never been able to say this guy's name. Amik and Buke from
Really?
Ohio State.
Really?
I'm gonna give a little reasoning because
Okay.
I know Godwin's a free agent. I think they will bring him back, but he's an aging player that's gotten hurt so many that, like, I feel like every year he gets hurt, and he's not getting any younger. Mike Evans, stud, not getting any younger. And when you have an opportunity, what this feels like to me is like when the Seahawks took JSN at a similar spot. It's just like a talent like that is hard to pass on. And they had DK and Tyler Lockett still at the time. And
Well, I mean,
they
and you're
saw a guy like
forgetting about
JSN where, like, you can't pass on him.
you're forgetting about Jalen McMillan too. But I get it. Like,
Yeah.
You're expecting Chris Godwin to walk or not be
Well, they could
re-signed or
let him
not part of
walk.
the future.
I guess you're right. McMillan is a dog, but I don't see them with that many holes that, like, they can't take best available right now. Like, I also like their tight end. Kate Otten, so I wasn't going to have him go with Tyler Warren. I just think he's a rare talent. It's kind of hard to pass on him right here for them, but obviously they can go other ways.
Hey, well, guess what? I got a team that's not going to pass on the tight end, a team that's looking for more offensive weapons to pair with their very young, very talented quarterback in Bo Nix. Give me Tyler Warren, Dave. You don't even need to scroll. He's the top guy. They're licking their chops here. He obviously had an insane year at Penn State. For those of you who watched him play throughout the college football playoffs, I mean, he was their number one guy on offense. It wasn't any of the wide receivers. It was the Tyler Warren show. And I mean, they used this guy all over the place. They were using him in the running game as well. So he's quite the chess piece. I think the Denver will be licking their chops, super happy, to get him, pair him with Cortland Sutton, give Bo Nix, a very talented guy. And, I obviously he needs to improve more in the run blocking game, but I think that will come over time. I'm not going to act like he's terrible, but there's definitely, if there's one thing I could point to, he needs to improve there. As a blocker, and that's all right. I mean, I think this is another team that'll be a candidate to draft a running back later as well. But you just got to go Tyler Warren here. He's going to be a beast, and give Bo Nix just such a good target to throw the ball to.
Yeah, I like that. I think he'd probably even go higher, but in this situation, falls to 20. I think that's an awesome landing spot for him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have the Steelers go again with a weapon. I'm gonna go Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. Golden's been a stud for that Texas offense. He's been the number one guy this year, so we got to see it more when the other studs left last year to go to the draft. So we got to see him more in that number one role, and he took over with 9 touchdowns and nearly 1,000 yards. Quinn Ewers is his main go-to guy, and the Steelers are a team. They just really need another wide receiver. Pickens is a great wide receiver, but they were trying to trade for wide receivers the whole season. They tried to get Brandon Ayuk. They brought in Mike Williams to try to patch it a little bit. But if they don't get anyone in free agency, they're going to be desperately looking for a wide receiver. And why not take one of the best ones in the draft right here at pick 21?
All right. I like that. Steelers obviously, are very good at drafting wide receivers. So if they choose to go Golden, I'm sure he'll work out, just going off their history. I'm going to go with another tight end here. The Chargers are like, hey, Denver's not the only one getting a tight end in the first round. I'm going Colston Loveland out of Michigan. John Harbaugh.
I like that. Yeah.
Oh, wait. What?
Going back
Jim.
with
I'm sorry. I said John, but I meant Jim. Jim Harbaugh gets his guy. Getting his Michigan boy. So that was kind of a huge reason why I liked it. But I mean, not only because of that. I mean, the kid is very good. He's one of the better pass catching tight ends in this draft class. Had a huge impact for Michigan, similar to, what I was saying with Tyler Warren, where he was one of their top options as a pass catcher. Like it was almost like having another wide receiver on the field. And the good thing for the Chargers is, or maybe not a good thing, but they just need to go offense. Like that's the big thing they need to focus on. Get Justin Herbert some weapons. I mean, obviously McConkey seems sick, but Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, are they part of the future? The tight end room, we saw a couple different guys in Stone Smart, Will Dissly, they had a revolving door. So at least hopefully this can solve the tight end position. I'm surprised they say running back is the top need. I do not think it is at all for this team. But I think this, fixes and plugs a big hole for them.
I think tight end's a big need for them too. And I love that he pairs back up with Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of like the big selling point for me. It's like, he fills a hole. And it's like, how do you not go and get a guy you've coached and So
so we got the Green Bay Packers up now. I think I'm going to have him take an edge rusher. It's really between Stewart and Sawyer for me. I'm going to go Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. Both of these guys are studs, but it really could go either way, I guess. I don't know a ton about the guy, but from what I'm seeing, that he would fill the need for the Packers there. Don't have too much to say about him. Got to turn on the tape a little more. But what do you think the Packers need, Reagan?
I
could see corner being a need if Jari.
Jack Sawyer's a little bit older. I mean, obviously he had the big touchdown in the who was it against? Against Oregon. He had the big, the big return touchdown. So he's an older player. I don't hate that. I mean, I would think they may go wide receiver there, but I guess they are kind of deep in that sense. They could go lineman. I mean, there's a lot of different routes you could have gone. I don't hate that at all. I would like to see them go edge rusher. Would I've gone him? I don't know. I think you could have gone a couple different routes there. It's tough because it's like, we're doing this so far out, but I don't hate the pick. I don't hate it. But let's go to Minnesota. For them, you can go a couple different routes. I think I will go running back here. No, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to believe it because after this year with Saquon and Derrick Henry, it's kind of rejuvenating the running back position and how valuable they are. And I know Aaron Jones is set to be a free agent. I think somebody will pay him because, right now he is the top name. Maybe they're like, hey, we'll roll with Cam Akers and draft a running back later. So maybe I will go guard here. I don't know. It seems a little foolish of me to assume they're going to take a running back. So, you know what?
I don't hate it. Go for the running back.
No.
It's a stacked class, but
no,
I
don't think I can do it. You know who I'll do? I'll go with the cornerback out of ECU because they really do need secondary help in Minnesota. I'm going to butcher his name, but Shavion Rebel Jr. I mean, he's also one of the better corners in this draft class. I think the thing that really hurt him is playing at a smaller school, similar to, you brought up Sauce Gardner before, and obviously Cincinnati did make the college football playoffs, so that helped him. But playing at ECU, I mean, you're not going against the top wide receiver things, and it sucks because he did tear his ACL, so he's a bit of a project. But Minnesota, I mean, you saw the team win. Oh, there's Big Dog. You saw the team win, 14-3 this year, so they have the ability to, take a guy who is recovering and has the talent. So I think they'll go with Ravel at 24.
Okay.
Say that again so we can hear you.
Whoever Reagan's going to take here is going to be a terrible pick.
Well, I just took Ravel after you said good pick.
Well, now the Texans are on the clock, a.k.a. Garrett.
Victory. All right. I mean, it's tough with them. They were a great team, obviously, last year. I do think they'll end up taking receiver. Hopefully one of those other guys falls a little further back for them. Because I think Diggs ends up walking, and you can't rely on Tank Dell at all next year because he might miss the entire season. So that really just leaves you with Nico Collins and Schultz. And when you have a young quarterback like CJ Stroud, you don't really want to, unless they bring someone in free agency, you don't really want to waste his rookie deal. You want to surround him with a lot of talent. So I got to kind of look through who the best receivers are left on the board.
I mean, you could go with Savion Williams out of TCU. You could go Trey Harris out of Old Miss. I mean, I know Tez Johnson's been getting a ton of buzz out of Oregon. I mean, he's not projected to go into the first, so I probably wouldn't go there, but he's getting a ton of buzz at the Senior Bowl.
That's what I was saying earlier.
I mean, if you were, I would probably say Savion, or I might say Trey Harris from Old Miss. I mean, he's a bigger guy. He was
Let's
Jackson
go with that.
Darts.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean,
you're
Jackson
reaching
Darts.
on him too, though. That's the thing.
You think? I mean, I don't know. He was Jackson. No.
They have him listed. They have him listed behind as ranked.
Who? You said Trey who?
Trey Harris. So he was Jackson Darts.
Nash, beast.
No, TRE.
You see Nick Nash
was
was on there too. The stud from San Jose State.
So he had, he had a huge year with Jackson Dart this year. So I don't hate that.
Go to wide receivers, Dave.
No, he already got him.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he's on the board. I mean, he's off.
Well,
the board.
yeah, I don't know which wide receiver they'll go, but I think they'll end up taking one of these guys. Maybe they'll even trade up and try to get like a McMillan or someone like that.
Awesome. So, I'm going to go with the Rams here. They're going to go O-line here. Got to keep Matt Stafford healthy. Got to keep him upright. So they'll be licking their chops getting Josh Cornley Jr. from Oregon.
No Jackson Dart.
No Jackson Dart. I am not. I think their window is still open. I don't think they're going to spend a premium pick on the future. I think they're going to go with O-tackle Josh Cornley Jr. out of Oregon. Ultimately, one of the biggest issues for the Rams was, giving Stafford the time to throw the ball. Dave, it's it's like Cone and then RLY. But one of the biggest reasons for the Rams was they just couldn't. You got him right there, the top one. One of the biggest reasons why the Rams, struggled this year was, and Matt Stafford, don't get me wrong, was great against the blitz, but it'd be nice to, hey, let's protect him so these stud receivers like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua can get downfield, and we don't have to keep dialing up these screens. So I think that'll help in the run game and the pass game. So to me, that's a no-brainer pick for them.
Okay. Baltimore Ravens. I'm
can't get this
probably
one
going
wrong.
to have them. What do you mean?
No, just because your boy Spencer can't get it wrong.
Oh shit! Sorry, Spence. Dude, I think I want to go Nick Scutron, Texas A&M edge rusher. It's the Ravens don't really have like a lot of holes right now, and I think if I could point out a hole, it'd probably be on the defensive line. They don't really have like as many pass rushers as you'd probably love. This guy's 6'4", and he's only 20 years old. From Texas A&M. Their other Texas A&M player listed higher than him, but
Yeah, right there, Nick
Stewart, but
Scutron. Yep, there you go.
I
Yeah,
used him a
no,
lot on my college Madden or college football ultimate team. So I'm a little biased, and he was a stud. But I think the Ravens could use another dog on the D line, maybe even a wide receiver. But I don't really love who's on the board right now for them.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with the Lions.
I probably could have just taken a tackle there.
I mean, there's so many different ways you can go here.
Too late now. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with another edge rusher in this one, actually from the same exact school. I'm going with Shamir Turner here for the Lions. Back-to-back Texas A&M edge rushers. What a way to go! But to me, there is no world where the Lions do not go defense. You don't even, you need to pair Aiden Hutchinson with somebody. I mean, you need that other guy because you saw that impact it had. Like once you lost him, it was like you lost your whole identity on that defensive line. You couldn't stop the run. You couldn't really get to the quarterback. So you need to pair somebody with him. You'd imagine he'll be 100% to go as soon as the season starts. But still, that should have shown you everything you needed to know with all those injuries and stuff. They got to keep building on that side of the thing, on that side of the ball. I think their offensive line is good enough that they don't need to address that. They got some wide receivers. Their offense is pretty loaded. So to me, it's a no-brainer, and they just go edge, keep stacking up, getting to the quarterback.
Awesome. Washington Commanders, this is a fun one. Coming off their conference game, I'm going to have them go with Armand Membo, tackle out of Mizzou. I think Jaden Daniels is your guy. Get him a first-round talent on the O-line to protect him for the next 10 years. I think they could use a lot of help on the defense, but that can be solved in free agency and later in the draft. And why not get one of the highest rated tackles in the draft here? I'm looking at it now. He didn't allow a single sack last year. And then in 2023, only allowed 2. So this guy's pretty much a lock in pass pro. And you want to do everything you can to keep your star quarterback healthy. So I thought this would be a great pick for them.
Yeah, no, I like that one for linebacker. Or I'm sorry, for the Bills, I'm going to go with linebacker. I think, Matt Milano was great, but he's had so much injury concerns. We watched that playoff game the other day, and I think it ultimately comes down to it's not can Josh Allen outscore Patrick Mahomes, because that obviously won't happen. It needs to be how do you limit Patrick Mahomes that, your offense does enough to get past him. So I'm going to go with Jahad Campbell from Alabama. He's viewed as one of the better linebackers in this class. I mean, he's obviously super versatile, and with his size at 6'3", 244, I mean, he's good against the run, but he's also good in pass coverage, can stop tight ends. And he would be the guy you'd bring in to, shut down Travis Kelce. And while Travis Kelce didn't, light you guys up in this, he also has the speed to be that quarterback spy. So you're not losing to Patrick Mahomes. And even if you match up with the Ravens, I mean, you need an athletic linebacker that can be a spy. And the way the NFL is going, you need the linebacker that can keep up with these new age mobile quarterbacks. So I think it fills a big hole. Matt Milano, how many years of, relevancy does he have left? I mean, he still looks great, but you got to be looking towards the future as well. So, without any wide receivers that are clear cut to take there. And, the draft could shake out differently. I would like Buffalo to take a wide receiver. So, hey, maybe they trade up or maybe somebody falls to him. But in this case, there was nobody I loved there. So give me Campbell.
Yeah, so now it's between Philly and Kansas City. Obviously, we don't know who's going to win, so it could go either way. It's
But you
listed
go
here as
Philly
the
in this
Eagles.
case. Yeah.
We'll go Philly. Philly's a team fucking loaded everywhere. Like, there's no,
Yeah,
you
how are they
can't
going to
really
say
point to a
wide
spot.
receiver is their top need, bro? What?
That's how good they are. They're loaded. They just traded for Jahan. Like, they wanted another young guy. But, like, that's how it just shows you how loaded they are. But I think if I had to pick one spot, I'd probably go, like, linebacker because it didn't really work out bringing in Devin White. He didn't really have a great year. And it seems like I guess they could go for another D end if they wanted to.
I would think
But
Howie does that.
I know who I want to take here. Let me look him up quick. It's going to work out perfectly because Howie's making the pick. I'm going to go Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia. We know Howie loves drafting from Georgia. PFF doesn't have him right now. It's a first rounder, but in Mel Kiper's first mock draft, he had this guy going as high as 7 to the Jets. So we've seen guys who cover the draft put him in the first round and put him as high as the top 10. He's a guy who's going to be a project because he could play edge and linebacker. He's going to like a chess piece. And Philly's a team that can take a chance on a player like that because their roster's so loaded. They don't for sure need like a plug and play starter. They can take the chance. We've seen them do it before on a guy like Nakobe Dean. They get another Georgia linebacker here, and those dogs are happy over there in Philly.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all, bro. I honestly don't.
Like,
For
could
the
you not see Howie doing that shit?
No, I 100% could. I think he'll go best player available. He's always got something up his sleeve. And for the Chiefs here, I'm going to have them go D-line here. I think they're just going to continue to, beef it up in the trenches. I got them going Kenneth Grant to pair with Chris Jones. He is a Michigan guy as well.
Nice.
His boy Will Graham got drafted earlier. But I think he's a guy that has shown some flashes, but his upside is so high that they can take, the chance on him. But, he's obviously better against the run. And to pair him with Chris Jones is great. So I think that's for them. They have the luxury of, hey, let's just, build up. Chris Jones has only got so many years left and it'll be good. What are you laughing at?
What's up, face Droxel making? He looks pissed. Yo, do you want to see?
No, I'm trying to get I'm trying to get the image of the entire mock draft on the screen.
That. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
For some reason, StreamYard's not letting me just share a picture. So give me
How many Michigan guys is that in the first 4 or 5?
Loveland, Will Johnson, Graham.
Honestly, I can just
Grant.
I'm just gonna share the entires. I'll just share the.
And I think I could see the Chiefs going, punter, long snapper, George Eberle, Charlie Eberle. You never know.
I would love that.
Oh, Dave, if you can screenshot that because we could post that on.
Yeah, no,
media.
I got a picture of it.
Oh, you did. All right, perfect.
Dude, Ashton, Jeanty going to the Bears would be so much fun.
We'll see. I'm curious to see what the comments say. Also, it's good to have that because it's like
Johnson getting in.
We're doing this so far out. We're doing this on January 29th. Like, I wonder, looking back at this when the draft actually rolls around, like how close we were, or how off we are. But, if you guys tuned in to this point, thank you for watching. Let us know one pick you really agreed with in the comments. Let us know one pick you really disagreed with. If you did disagree, like, what would you do there? Where did we go wrong? Like, was there a player we completely missed out on in the mock draft? Where like, how did you guys not have this guy going in the first round? Or maybe there was a guy where like, there's no way in hell this guy is in a D or a round 2 pick. So let us know. Garrett, Dave, you got any final remarks?
No, buy your fucking crew necks and get hyped up for our golf outing. Jesus Christ, dude.
Subscribe.
My God, dude. This is our best merchandise to date. And it is going to look great on anybody, regardless size, shape, and or color that you get. So get whatever. I mean, I was full transparency. I was like, I didn't like the green coming from around the felter. And I have now the green and it looks great on me. It looks fantastic. So
you look hot as fucking green.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Well, I'm taken, so slow your roll down there.
Yeah, sorry, Miss Strock.
Miss Strock.
What was I gonna say? Next week we're gonna have 2 big pods. We'll do one Super Bowl one, and then we'll have one for you degenerates out there where Drock's going to lead the class on that pod. I think that's going to be his go-to one. So for those of you who want a little more Drock action, you better sign up for the Zoom link to come to the School of Drock.
Yeah. Flex that merch, baby.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Drop a like, drop a comment. If you ain't subbed, do it right now.
You